Hi, this is going to be a speed drawing / art process video for a Halloween print that I've created. Here is me pretending that this is the same day that I actually created this piece on, but it isn't because I forgot to film anything of myself on that day. But here is me on another work day about to create another piece, but wanting to show off my new decorated studio space, which I tried to give subtle dark academia vibes with things that I already have around and a low budget. Anyway, let's get started on the piece. I'm sorry if you can hear a bit of the weather in the background. We're getting a little bit of a storm coming through at the moment, but hopefully you can't hear that too much. As I'm getting started here, tracing the design that I already created, I've already traced this off my iPad where I quickly drafted the idea off of camera and then traced onto some tracing paper off of camera as well. So here's me moving that onto some watercolour paper. But whilst I'm doing that, I thought, as this is not my first YouTube video ever, but the first in a long time and feels like a bit of a new beginning, I thought I'd give you a quick introductional background to my work in case you've never been here before or on my Instagram. I've been a predominantly digital artist focusing on character design for many years and was very much the focus of my Instagram page and any work I was doing outside of that, and is what I was focusing on developing. However, I very slowly, over 2 or 3 years, fell into a little bit of a rut with my work and went from being very passionate about creating to not wanting to create at all and not enjoying what I was creating or the process any longer. Now that was probably affected by a lot of external factors in my life, but I also think that what I was creating and the process of how I created my work was feeling very stale to me and very repetitive and wasn't really growing with me, as I'd started my Instagram page when I was in university and now I'm 5 or however many years, I don't want to think about it too much, but I've been many years out of university and of course adapting and changing as you do without really giving my art the same flexibility to do so, and felt without intending to that I had to stick with the style that I'd created because that's how I got the following that I did on Instagram and started getting work from that style, etc. But pushing it didn't work and I ended up not creating anything at all for a long time, especially over lockdown periods where I had more time than ever to create work, but created less and less as time went on. But a few months ago, a year ago, however long, I decided to start being more experimental again with my work, which although was fun and felt like I was back at the beginning of creating my Instagram page and just enjoying creating and learning, also felt like I was a beginner again and I wasn't the artist I wanted to be when only a couple of years ago I felt like I was starting to get myself to a place art-wise where I felt comfortable in sharing my work and like I was developing as an artist, and now all of a sudden I felt back at the beginning again and like I didn't know what I was doing. And although that was inspiring in many ways, it was also very daunting to be without the crutch that I'd already developed in my digital art and my character design, which I'm not leaving behind completely. I still want to create characters and to share them and to teach character design, as I felt like I learnt a lot in the many years that I was designing characters and teaching in books and magazines, and would like to continue to do that, but not just that and not have the focus on that when there are other ways that I enjoy being creative more. Basically, what I'm saying is this is me restarting in many ways. Although not completely, I still have a lot of characteristics in this work that I think I've brought over from the work I was doing before. And maybe some people don't really see much of a difference except for the fact that it's not completely digital. But leaving behind what I was doing in the comfortable process that I developed, because in many ways when you create a style, you also create a process. A step-by-step to how you get the style that you want and the end result that you want. And like I said before, it became monotonous to me and I needed to create art that felt like I was kind of using my brain again to work things out. Anyway, I suppose I'm just saying I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. Not that anyone ever really does, or that I did before, but I feel that more so than I have done in a long time. But I'm enjoying what I'm doing more, and I haven't necessarily got the same kind of passion, although it's not really the word I want to use, for art that I had before when I was creating non-stop at the beginning of Instagram. I've definitely got something that's making me want to create again that I didn't really have for a long time, and I think the refresh of the new process and the incorporation of other interests that I have now that I didn't necessarily have before, in science and in plants and fungi and the moon and all that mad fascinating stuff that is natural life. Mingling that in with my art has really helped. And not that I have those elements in every piece, there are other things that I want to develop just for the sake of art, and prints that I want to make. Prints that I'd put up on my wall when I wasn't creating art for that before. I was creating art for character design and other things, but now I want to create some pieces just to be aesthetic and for people to want to put up on their walls. And I want to create some art that has feeling and discusses topics that I want to discuss, maybe like mental health, etc. But also art that celebrates things that I'm interested in before, like I said. And I want to do that through watercolour, but I also want to maybe create zines and to pull out the clay again that I started working on and then dropped. And only other ways that I can think of creating things. I was definitely missing out on that before, that sundry of creative possibilities. I think for me personally it's something that I needed and helps me to keep motivation. So if you're feeling a little stuck maybe with your art and bored or like you're in an art block or whatever is making you feel a little stuck, for me it really helped to start experimenting again, to bring out a different medium, to create something out of the interests that I have other than art. That's helped me lately anyway. It won't necessarily help every time. There may be other factors that need to be fixed or changed or adapted. But I think I realised that I really wasn't enjoying the work I was creating anymore, and it didn't feel like an extension of me like it used to, and this feels much more me now that I'm a little older, and feels like it's developed with me more than what it was before. So anyway, this is my spooky Halloween piece. I was, to be honest, going to create, was it 6 of them I think, that I was going to be posting every day, but that kind of fell away from me with other work that I had to do, and realised that it meant I'd be rushing my art and not spending time creating pieces that I actually like. But I did design some of those pieces and I do want to do them eventually. They're not all extremely Halloween based but more spooky based, so I think they'll be appropriate for after Halloween as well. This is my most Halloween centric piece, so I should be able to use those designs I've already done. If you're interested, this piece is watercolour, pencil and crayon. I will scan this in once it's done and then I will edit it digitally on Photoshop, as you will see near the end of the video. I don't always feel like I'm keeping control of the colour scheme that I intend to use with watercolour. Obviously it's easy to have a lot of control of that when you're working digitally and to be able to change that as you go along. The one thing that I liked about working digitally was being able to adapt things as much as you want throughout the piece, which if you're doing it traditionally and something massively goes wrong halfway through the piece, it's hard to go back on that or to change it, which is something I'm having to adapt to. But I like the feel that the crayon and the watercolour gives to my piece that I didn't feel like my digital work was doing. It felt a little too clean for what I was wanting it to look like. The lines were too clean and the painting was too clean, and I was starting to enjoy more vintagey style works, which is what I'm trying to incorporate a little bit. You see it more so in some of my prints, like my moon print, and I'm doing a fungi print as well. They more heavily lean on vintage styles, but I am enjoying the slightly messier look that I get with watercolour and crayon. I think it has a charm to it that I was losing a bit with my digital work. Not that you can't do it with digital work, it's just how the process that I was doing and the feeling that I wanted from my work I wasn't creating with digital. With the watercolour, I think it's working better for me. So yeah, I feel like I still have a lot to learn about watercolour. I'm still very, very new to it. And scanning it in and allowing myself to edit it digitally gives me a bit more control. It's something that I already know a lot about, so it can help me enhance the piece to a place that I like. But I also use the digital because I can create effects with it that I don't think I'd be able to do with just traditional paint. So it creates something a bit extra on top, a bit more atmosphere maybe. Just allows me to deepen colours and to create more depth and to fade things in and out in ways that I might not be able to do with watercolour. Maybe I would be eventually. Like I say, very much a beginner, but I'm enjoying the mixture between my watercolour and the digital editing and the end results that creates. But like I say, not that I won't be trying different things and different processes, because I don't want to get stuck in that rut again. I wasn't even planning on talking really in this video, but I've ended up talking for a lot of it. So I think now I'll just let you carry on watching the process to some chilled music. This is all very new to me, talking into a microphone and then posting myself in this way onto the internet. There's a lot of changes at the moment with Instagram, etc., with the reels, where I'm trying to post more of myself on there, but it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing for me, but I'm trying to get used to it. So I hope I haven't rambled on too much, and hopefully I will improve as I carry on making these videos and talking. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the process. This print will be available at my store on my website, CorahLouise.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, Corah Louise Artist. All the links will be below.